stages, passionate fans, and yet more drama in the R5 Rally Championship presented by First Citizens. Join us as we reflect on the hottest topics from rounds 8, 9, and 10. We kicked off the second half of the New for 2022 series this past weekend with an action-packed program of back-to-back events at opposite ends of the island. Saturday's MCBI's Full Throttle event was run over a 5.4 kilometre stage from Golden Grove to Harrow and St Philip, and then reverse for round 9.
Let's kick things off with Ben Hartling. This would be Ben's third outing in his Fiesta R5 and first outing without co-driver Martin Brady. Ben commented to us prior to the event that he would be taking it easy and slowly build his speed over the day. With a few big moments in round 8, Ben would find his best pace of 2:46.63 and grab 3 points. When the direction flipped, Ben, however, would find himself with a bit of a mechanical failure when his exhaust cracked and started to pump fumes into the cockpit. This also melted some of the rear bumper of the car. Ben would call it a day to get the car repaired in order to come out swinging for round 10 the next day. Paul Horton was happier than ever to be back in his car rallying, and we'd see his consistency out in full display from the get-go. Slowly building on each run, Paul was able to set a fastest time in round 8 of 2:49.27 after some very close battles with Ben Hartling. This battle with Ben would continue in the reverse direction as well, with a best time for Paul of 2:47.84, and he'd close that direction in 10th, only able to grab 2 points.
Andrew Malalou has really gotten to grips with his R5 Ford Fiesta as of late, and as of run 3 of round 8 was sitting in a healthy P3 heading into the final run. Complaining of massive heat issues in the car on what was an extraordinarily hot day in St Philip, Andrew ended up dropping down on his last run to P6 in what was an incredibly tight battle with Roger, Mark, and Josh Reed. For round 9, Andrew started his first run of the afternoon in emphatic fashion, with the back end stepping out on him in multiple sections. The stage itself was a big talking point, as many of the drivers were raving about the high speeds and fun-flowing sections, with lots of opportunities to gain time. Andrew finished round 9 in P7 with a time of 2 minutes, 42.71.
Jeffrey Panton was another driver to spend some time with the driving coach leading into rounds 8 and 9. Long-time visitor and 3-time British Rally champion Matt Edwards would sit alongside Jeffrey in his car, helping develop his driving style and working on getting him more comfortable with his Rally 2 Fiesta. Jeff commented that Matt's input was deeply valuable and the times would certainly reflect this. Rocketing to second place, Jeff would add 14 points to his total, finishing just 7/10 off Stuart Maloney in the first direction. When we flipped directions in the afternoon, Jeff would find himself making a big mistake in his third run, and what would be his final after run 4 was cancelled. That would see Jeff finish round 9 in 5th to Rob Swan.
Enter R5 Rally Barbados winner Josh Reed. Big expectations on the shoulders of this talented driver heading into this weekend's action, but mechanical issues really hampered his progress in round 8. A disappointing P7 was definitely a setback for Josh, but the team got to work on his pop-off valve issue as Josh was losing power in the higher gears on stage. For round 9, Josh and the team clearly sorted his power issue with a boost reset, and it did wonders as he came out flying. P2 overall, just nipping Mark Maloney and Rob Swan to the second step on the podium, setting him up nicely for round 10 the following day.
Leading into rounds 8 and 9, always keen to work on his driving, Mark spent the week prior working with ex-WRC driver Zevi Pons. Mark commented prior to the event that Zevi sent him back to the drawing board and revamped his entire approach to driving. That work seemed to pay dividends as we'd see Mark lay down some impressive times throughout the first direction. Mark finished round 8 in 5th and would take home 8 points. When we reversed the direction in the afternoon, for round 9, Mark was able to dig deep and find even more pace. With just over 1 second between 2nd and 4th place, Mark would end the day in 3rd place, just behind Josh Reed, and add another 12 points to his standings.
Roger Hill suffered from tyre pressure issues in runs 1 and 2 Saturday morning. He took an extremely conservative approach in the slippery conditions. However, run 3 and 4 saw all of the competitors' times drop in impressive fashion, and Roger was no different. He managed to climb to P4 with a very respectable time of 2 minutes 41.43, claiming he also left some time on the stage in the major braking sections. In the reverse order, Roger started off with technical issues as a handbrake malfunction meant that he could not start run 1 of round 9. However, he would start back on run 2 and entered into one of the most intense battles we've seen this year. Less than 2 seconds split 2nd place to 6th, but it was Roger who couldn't up the pace and finished round 9 P6 overall. Stan Hartling rounded out the R5 field after another impressive round where he improved on every run. But it was round 9 of the championship where we saw Stan hit his stride. Getting faster and faster, Stan was able to pit Paul Horton to P8 by 7/10.
Months out of his car did not seem to have a huge impact on Rob Swan's performance. He came out the gates in round 8 hot, and over the 4 timed runs would find seconds each go around. With some setup changes to the car boosting his confidence, we'd see Rob close out round 8 in 3rd place, just 9/10 off the event winner. When the directions switched for round 9, we'd see what was already an incredibly high speed stage get even faster. Pushing hard in what was an insanely competitive grid, Rob would finish round 9 in 4th, only 3/10 behind 3rd place finisher Mark Maloney, and he'd take home 10 points.
Stuart Maloney continued his rich vein of form on Saturday morning, posting 3 of the 4 fastest runs in round 8. He bested the field with a time of 2 minutes 39.21 in what was an extremely tight battle with a resurgent Jeffrey Panton and Britain's Rob Swan, all finishing within a second of Stuart on the 4th and final run. Stuart started round 9 with full confidence and blitzed the 10-field R5 group, winning his 7th R5 event for the year, a truly dominating performance for the inaugural R5 Rally Champion.
Let me tell you why you're here.
Round 10 for the R5 Rally Championship would kick off Sunday morning at the BRC Autumn Doubleheader, which would be held on the infamous Sailor Gully stage in the north of the island. Round 10 for the R5 Championship would be scored using accumulative times across 8 runs. And after what was probably his best outing in his Fiesta Rally 2, on the previous day's events, Jeffrey Panton would cut his day short after running off the road and parking his car on top of a short barrier wall. He'd comment to us after the event that he was feeling great in the car and they push these R5s to the jagged edge and sometimes push too hard. Jeff said he'll be taking some time to reset mentally and prepare for the next round in September.
Let me tell you why you're here.
Ben Hartling admitted he's not as confident in his car with co-driver Martin Brady missing, so he'd snatch up Paul Horton's for a few runs to help him get acquainted with the stage and gain confidence. After an exhaust leak caused him to miss a few runs in the previous day's event, Ben still managed to post some competitive times and had some great battles with his dad Stan. Ben would grab 5 points at the end of round 10 after finishing in 8th place. Paul Horton got off to a great start, and as we'd always see from Paul, would stay consistent and build on his pace each stage. Paul would quickly secure himself between Andrew Malalu and Ben Hartling and would finish round 10 in 7th place, taking home 7 points.
Andrew Malalou finished P6 for round 10 of the R5 Rally Championship. Andrew, having no expectations other than having fun for the weekend, never really troubled the top 5. Still, a consistent drive for the Barbadian driver. Roger Hill spent the first loop of round 10 in a three-way battle for third with Swan and Mark Maloney. Less than a second between the competitors in what was an extremely tight-fought morning session. Roger would then go on to be his usual consistent self, taking caution through the muddy technical sections and ending up finishing P5 in round 10.
After a great performance on Saturday, Mark Maloney appeared to be building on his confidence in his Fabia R5 and spent the day swapping times with Roger Hill and Rob Swan. Ultimately, Mark would pit Roger Hill and secure 4th overall on this short but challenging stage. Commenting during the day that the S-bends in Orange Hill were particularly challenging and an area where he'd really focus on being patient. After a strong finish on the previous day's event, Rob Swan told us that he was planning on starting fast and building on each run as he knew times would be incredibly close on this very short stage. Rob would be locked in a tight battle across the 8 stages with Mark Maloney, but would ultimately find more pace and finish the event 3rd overall, just shy of 11 seconds off 2nd place finisher.
Stuart Maloney, who has bossed the R5 Championship this year and looked to have a stranglehold on last week's event with a slight advantage heading into Sunday's final loop. But the Skoda Rally 2 Evo driver saw his hopes disintegrate on an innocuous-looking left-hander that became slippery with mud and gravel, understeering almost into a ditch and handing the lead to Josh Reed, who went on to win the rally by the smallest of margins. Josh Reed threw down the gauntlet for a charge on the R5 Rally Championship presented by First Citizens by winning the R5 Group at the BRC Autumn event. The Ford Fiesta R5 driver edged championship leader Stuart Maloney by just 9/10 of a second in what was a truly epic battle for supremacy. Josh commenting, he had pure joy driving the slick and treacherous stage in both directions on Sunday. Maximum points for Josh as he hunts Stuart down in the championship.
Here's a look at the standings after round 10. Stuart Maloney maintains a comfortable lead, but the battle below continues to heat up. Only 14 points separate 2nd through 4th, and as Mark Maloney and Josh Reed continue to get faster, we can be sure the gap to Rob Swan and Roger Hill will certainly close. With just over 2/3 of the championship rounds behind us, the stage is set for what will certainly be an exciting battle to the finish.
Up next for round 11 of the R5 Rally Championship, we join the MCBI Sun and Stars Rally on September 10th. We'll see you out there on the stages.